Welcome to Yoga Biz Studio, a weekly internet show of 10 to 30 minutes in length, hosted by me, Keeley Mitchell, the founder of Z Living, and my colleague,
Carla Wilson, owner of Wilson Media Services.
in which we'll share business, legal, and marketing insights for yoga studio owners and independent yoga teachers. For Yoga Biz Studio, we are employing Google Plus Hangouts on air. This gives us some flexibility about how people can view our show. So you're either watching this via our website at yogabizstudio.com, on the Google Plus event page for today's show, or via YouTube. However you are watching the show, we just want to say thank you for joining us. Carla and I will do our best to follow the conversation. There is a Q&A panel on the event page, or feel free to tweet us using the hashtag YogaBizStudio. On today's episode, we will like to talk to you about social media and how you can use that to build your business community.
Excellent. Keeley, thanks so much for that intro. I thank you. I especially thank you for your quick editing of our script. That was awesome.
I got skills.
You got mad skills, girl. That's awesome. That's awesome. So today on the show, we have a special guest. This is exciting for us. We haven't had a guest speaker on our Yoga Biz Studio show yet. So when we were discussing what topics to cover on the next episode, the topic of social media for Yoga Biz yoga studio owners came up, and of course the first person I thought of is my colleague Jeff Tincher. Coincidentally, Jeff and I co-host a show similar to Yoga Biz Studio for marketing professionals called Chester County Marketing Group, and we also host an in-person marketing networking meeting every month, and in the Chester County, Pennsylvania area. And I really look to Jeff as for me, a mentor, a colleague. He has been working online for many years. I'll let him detail all of that for you in a minute. But I think the thing that he will bring to our conversation is that he's done social for big brands for several years. He's done a lot of different things in the marketing realm, as well as building websites. But again, it's that social media piece that I think he's going to bring a lot of expertise to the discussion today. So I'm going to let Jeff take it away for a few minutes. Jeff Tincher, owner of 610 Digital. And Jeff, why don't you introduce yourself and give us a little bit about your background?
Great. Well, thanks, Carla and Keeley, for having me on the show here today. So, yeah, I'm Jeff Tincher, owner of 610 Digital, company based out of Chester County, Pennsylvania, outside of Philadelphia. And as Carla said, her and I have been working together for 3 years with the Chester County Marketing Group, and going 3 years this month actually. So it's been a lot of fun, and bringing education and stuff to the local marketing professionals. But where I come back from is I have a background in IT, information technology. Working with websites and development. This was many, many years ago. And then I worked in terms with switching over to online marketing, internet marketing, digital marketing, the synonymous marketings that are out there. And I started that back with a company that was a computer consulting company. And there we ramped up, got their email marketing going. And this was the launch of Facebook back in like 2006, 2007 era. Brought them onto a social media, being a very infant, very small business. I figured we need to get the information out to them at that time. So that got me started going in the route of social and just being digitally connected and working with companies to grow email lists, to understand the features and such. And then, as Carla said, I've been working with bigger brands in the past couple of years, such as I worked for True Action, which is a consulting company, was part of GSI Commerce. And there I worked with social media for like NFL shops and the NHL store, so a lot of the sporting leagues in terms of social media. I do pay-per-click advertising, and as she mentioned, I did work a couple projects with some holistic and wellness type companies. One's a wellness cable company, television channel, that I worked for a handful of months, 3-4 months, and launched the process from Instagram, Pinterest, We launched a microsite, which means a small website that was geared to a sweepstakes and a giveaway and such like that. So, and we use social media as the vehicle to really connect with the people and get the customers of that channel to engage with them and to grow their followings that way.
Okay.
So.
Thanks, Jeff. And why don't you? Let's just get started, I think, for, again, our show is geared toward yoga studio owners and independent yoga teachers, and we, just titled this generally, how to use social media to create community for your business. So why don't we cover what you feel are like the top social networks for a small business owner to consider?
That for the social network, that does take. It's a good question. Throw a curveball right out of the bat. Okay. It all really depends on the business. Okay.
Good answer. Yes, keep going.
And people always say that. But when it comes to that, is it something that's going to be worthwhile on Facebook? Facebook again has the most population, the most engagement. You can really target. In fact, if you're looking to do any advertising piece of that, you can target the people in the geographical regions you're looking for, the demographics, say you want male, female, you want certain age categories. You can do a lot of that when it comes from an advertising point, and that's why Facebook's always viable to for a small business is due to that reason. Plus, it also brings in people in the local community. Since you are local, people are going to more apt to know your business. It's nice there, small mom and pop, small biz like that tend to have a better following, a better engagement when it comes to what they do. It depends on a type of business. So if you've got a veterinarian, maybe they do something different. If you do a restaurant, they're very highly active because people want to know what's coming for dinner and what's coming to the bar specials with live music. But it becomes repetitive over time. A lot of them will post the same exact information and don't really talk to the community and understand what they want. When I was working for one business with for the holistic company, it was different. We got to go out and we got to engage and ask people, hey, what would you eat to have the best, healthiest lunch? You should give up that cup of coffee and have 2 glasses of water instead. What do you do to exercise during the day that you wouldn't do? Do you take the escalator? Do you take the stairs? Things like this, like the wellness type of trait. So you want to find that niche and just go with it like that. So what I'm saying is Facebook could be that vehicle. Twitter's a tough one. Mm-hmm. Instagram, I think, is always nice because it's a visual, and when you're talking, especially here with your customers here, is visual is great. You put a nice picture of someone doing a yoga pose, or you do something of a nice food or healthy type thing. It all goes together, and it tends to build some more engagement. You're going to tackle the people that have different likes and different views that are outside that one common core, and maybe they'll say, I want to share this with you on for healthy chicken recipes or healthy vegan recipe or something of that. So I did see that happen.
Okay. So now, so I guess for our yoga studio owners, a Facebook page might be, probably is a good idea because they are a bricks and mortar business. They do have a street address. People visit them. Mm-hmm. I guess one thing that we were kind of chatting about before we went live was if you have a Facebook account and you plan to post on behalf of your business, please don't post your business stuff from your personal profile page. Right. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, you want to post. Sorry about that. You do want to share, but you don't want to share things, and that's why there is the difference between a personal page and the business page. And so many times you'll see a lot of people will just start dropping everything over on their personal page that they do on their business. It's okay to do it occasionally because what you want to do is you really want to drive people over to that business page away from your personal page because it's personal and the business is over there. And by doing that, you get all the insights. You get to know what type of audience you're looking at, all the stuff you don't really realize you get with a Facebook page.
Oh, that's right.
You can understand I'm talking to females that are 25 to 34, and that makes up 70% of my audience. That's what it was with the cable wellness channel. So we knew the audience, and that was the audience they were focused to get, and that's what we got on Facebook. So target audience was good, and you can get all that by going to the Facebook Insights and understanding who's interacting with your comments and your posts, and are they commenting on those posts, and if they are, those are the type you want to keep doing more of.
Right. Excellent point there. I had actually, honestly, I had forgotten that a business page does have the insights that you can go back to and refer to help you understand your demographics and the folks that are following your content, or maybe even engaging with your content more. Now, you did mention Instagram, and again, our conversation here is a little bit dated because you and I had this conversation a couple of times this year already. In 2014, Jeff and I did a presentation about the internet trends for 2014 a few weeks ago, and something that we found interesting was that images in your marketing are going to be really, really important this year. So that being said, would you agree that an Instagram account is good for a yoga studio?
Images, yeah, images is what we said a month ago, and it definitely is, because one, an image will put that emotional state into somebody about what you're trying to, the information you're trying to give out. So an image will stick with a person more than a text message or something on Facebook. One thing that Instagram lacks is the ability to really, you can't link, you can't create a link and say, hey, go over and click on the link. You can type a link in, but then the user has to go and type the link into their browser and go to it. So there's no way of sending them to a website from Instagram itself. Much like Pinterest, you can. That's the whole premise of Pinterest. So that's where they both come into play, and both do offer different audiences. I mean, Pinterest is a great way of searching, where Instagram is more of just a quick scroll through, find an interesting picture, and like it. It's almost like it's a great way to test out some images to see what people might like. It's a good, almost in a way like a focus group. Cool. If you have a good following, you post like a little image or an ad up there, and you say, hey, let's see how many likes we get, or how many people talk about this, or what does it instill in my customer or my person to make them feel that way. Now you have some insights on that. You have to really, read it and do it yourself to extrapolate the data on that, but it's doable.
Okay, and would you agree that creating your own images, maybe just taking an image, say, of somebody doing a yoga pose, and then what's the word? Putting the words, like putting words over top of the image to create like one of those nice images that you can use on any of your social networks. Is that the easiest way to do it? Do you have another method of doing that?
For overlaying like text onto an image, I think
That's what I was trying to say. Yeah,
overlay.
That's what I was.
My mind here is working slow too, but it'll be good. But no, overlaying text on an image, there's a bunch of different tools that are out there, and I think, Carla, you talk about PicMonkey.
PicMonkey's a great resource.
I use one called like Sumo app, and then it's like /paint. It's all they're cloud-based, so they're online on the internet. That one's free. If you have access to Photoshop, of course, that's the best. But then you're looking at really understanding graphics and design. But beyond that, I mean, definitely instilling a message next to an image is really the way to go, because you're going to get a text message across into that emotional state and get people to remember what you're trying to convey.
Gotcha. Okay, so we are clogging the conversation here. I want to include Keeley. And I know we're bouncing around a little bit because, there were several topics that we wanted to cover today. And when we were preparing for the show, Keeley came up with a couple of good questions, Jeff. So, Keeley, why don't you ask Jeff your questions?
Okay, Carla, I officially feel the way you do when I talk legal stuff. I am like sitting here going, pig monkey, oh my God, and like, oh geez, I'm having mini heart attacks. It's okay.
No heart attack. No heart attack. It's a great image editing tool. It's free. I'll put a link in the show notes so everybody knows what I'm talking about.
But it ties in to one of the things I struggle with is I am far from being a social media expert person. So it's just me when running my business. So it's where should I be posting and how often should I be posting? Because I see some businesses are posting, it seems like every minute they're coming out with something on Twitter. And then, others maybe post once a week. And it's, you're trying to figure out how often you should be posting because you want to stay in people's minds. So that's, it's something I struggle with. And then, I have discovered auto post, but then I'm thinking days in advance of what I would want to say. And, that's hard too.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And it comes up a lot of times. And you want to have the time to really think about things from a almost over a month's period. What's coming up in a month? What's happening going on? Is there something coming that I need to know? And because you really could start hinting at something, like if there's a new class or if there's a new a workshop coming up or something that's happening out there that's coming up. You want to know that. You're going to know that in advance anyways. But your customers and your clients and people like that don't know anything about that. So they're going to want to know maybe, hey, something's coming up in 2 weeks. So now you're starting to put that little thing out there. But to the point here is you don't want to overdo it unless your fan base wants it. Okay? And by I say that is if you go and post every single day and you post at 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. on some days and 9 a.m. on some other days because you want to vary the time, and you don't get any likes and you don't get any shared, you don't get any comments, probably what you're doing isn't going to work. So you're going to want to say, okay, let's step back. Let's see what are the posts that I've been doing. Okay, I'm just doing the one thing. I'm just typing in a couple questions. I'm not really asking them to answer. So you really want to tell the fans on Facebook or whatnot. Say, what do you think about this? Or what are your five things when you wake up in the morning to think about the day? And then people start sharing in more of a community, and then you listen back at that way. But so you want to find a rhythm and keep on that when it comes to both. Facebook has its own rhythm. Twitter would have its own rhythm or cadence, some people call it. Pinterest and Instagram would have its own, but then you have to have an all-over one that says, because you don't just want to just bombard everybody and be like, I'm posting everything to every single social network right now. Because,
oh, come on!
Yeah. I mean, you could do that with a Hootsuite, which is an app out there that can manage multiple social media channels and platforms at the same time, so you could do that. However, you could also do some minor type scheduling. I think, we talked about that pre-show, and we were talking about what's the value of scheduling a post. And there's goods and bads. I always say if you're going to go out and say, I got 25 minutes or a half hour today in the morning, and I can have a post go out at 7 o'clock tonight because I want to engage the people that come home and they've got their kids fed and they're starting to wind down, and I don't want to do that post at 7 p.m., so I'm going to do it now at 9 a.m. I'm going to schedule it for 7 p.m. That's great. You don't want to say, hey, in July coming up, I have this special event, and then you post it and you forget that you posted it, and July comes up and you don't have the event for some reason, but it says you do. Now you're in trouble. Yeah. So you got to keep wary with that. So I always say build an editorial calendar out and try to broadly have it go for a month. And it could be the point where you're like, this week let's talk about yoga poses, or this week let's talk about nutrition, this week let's talk about what you do in the evening, or do your kids get involved with you, or something along the lines of that. And now you have commonality with themes, and you're going to build those themes on Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, definitely a blog article, and email marketing. So everything's going to tie back together, and you're basically taking your editorial calendar and building out a campaign that you're not even aware of you're doing it, but you are. So
cool. So then what would you say, Jeff, then for a yoga studio, as a small business, what would you suggest? How many times a week should they post, say, to Facebook?
You know,
Your guess.
probably a
Educate.
couple times. A couple times. One, you might want to reach out at like a 7 a.m. I know I've posted some pages at 7 a.m. and I get a lot of engagement. It's people getting up early. That's first thing they do is check email and Facebook. 8 a.m. is probably not a good time if you're a local business because people are either commuting to the office or what they're doing. Same thing with 5 p.m. Lunchtime's a good time, so you want to maybe say on Monday, let's do a 7 a.m. Starting your week off. How are you starting your week off with, yoga in mind? Or how are you starting your week off with being healthy and doing, some wellness activities? What do you do on your Monday morning? And then come around like maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, drop one in at night, and then, occasionally on there. And don't forget the weekends. The weekends are when a lot more people engage, and that's when you can target the 10 o'clocks, at 2 p.m.s, and different times. And I say vary it up sometimes because people will go. And one thing about that with Facebook is a post, when you put it there, will... Oh, hold on. You guys froze up there for a minute. I just wanted to say.
Yeah, you did too. And now suddenly everything's very clear. Like your video is very clear and your lower third is very clear. So we just resolved that question mark we had earlier.
Cool. That's good. The computer's waking up.
Yes,
Sorry.
it is. No problem.
But
no
what
problem.
where
you were saying that with the Facebook posts.
Yeah. I'm sorry. As
No
Carla
problem.
could sense, I've had a long evening and very few sleep, but apologies for that. Slip of the mind.
No problem. So it will depend, because that's our favorite answer a lot of times, how many times a week you should post. Like you were saying, on the weekends, there's a lot more engagement, and you can post different times of the day because people are going to be on Facebook more often than during the business week.
Yeah. If you also have a special class that comes up, like I used to do some Facebook marketing for a chiropractor and pain management and wellness clinic in North Jersey, and they always had chair yoga on Tuesday nights, and then they had a full-on yoga class on Thursday nights. Well, it would come on like Monday night. I would post and start at 7 p.m. I go, don't forget, tomorrow night at 7 p.m. we have chair yoga. And then on that morning, I'd be like, hey, waking up, feeling a little slow or sluggish, don't forget to come out to our class. And those, since they always had them, you were able to schedule them a couple weeks in advance.
Right.
Okay, so that's where you come along with, if you have something set. Now, you don't do it every week because they're like, yes, okay, I know, but you do it every now and then because you're going to get new fans to Facebook that like you that may not know, and so you want to always be able to be introducing them. What I was going to say earlier was the amount of, it's called decay on a Facebook post. If I put something out at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it should stay around in news feeds, depending on how much is being posted, for an hour to 2 hours. It's not one of those things that go out and stays forever. And many people say, like, I'm not seeing a lot of these posts. You need to get people to engage with your posts and your Facebook messages by liking, commenting, and sharing, so they continue to see them. So that's the big thing.
Okay.
When it comes from a business side and standpoint, and how to get them to engage.
Awesome. All right, now, Keeley, I'm going to bring the conversation back around to you because, unfortunately, you discovered a few days ago that your Twitter account was hacked. So why don't you ask some questions or explain what happened and ask some questions of Jeff?
Yeah, I'm having a social media meltdown this week. My Twitter account was hacked. I guess it was Tuesday afternoon. It became apparent. Just these weird tweets were going out. And yesterday I spent like majority of the day trying to take care of correcting the issue, and so the hackers could go away. So it was very traumatic, and I never had that happen to me. I've heard all these other people. You get the normal Facebook post of, I've been hacked, so if you need to reach me over here, or those posts didn't come from me. So it's disheartening when it's your business. So I guess one is, when you get hacked, what is the best way to alleviate the problem, and then how to prevent yourself from being hacked?
Right. when it does happen, it can very easily happen, and it's becoming more and more frequent. And Twitter is a big one. I see that more often, and that's you'll get what they call a direct message. I'll be like, hey, someone's saying something funny about you. Okay. For the people that don't know, they're not. No one's saying anything funny about any of us, right? And no one's going to send it to us on a direct message in Twitter. So that is probably an account that got hacked, and if you click the link, there's a chance that you could then get your account hacked as well. Not going to say it's going to happen, but that could be one of the ways in the door to get in there. So if it does happen, you'll probably not even know, right, Keeley? You said that people will send you emails and they're like, hey, I think something happened to your accounts, and you're like, well, okay, so you immediately want to go in, you immediately want to change the phone number, the password. And you want to have a password that is, anymore you want a password that's going to be something that you actually have to think about what your password is. It's not the dog's name, the kid's name, add a 1 to the end of it, add a 2 or something like that. You want to use special characters, which is a shift and then any of the numbers, so exclamation point, ampersands, things like that. You want to vary up capital letters with lowercase, with numbers. You really want to do that because you want to protect your identity, protect yourself out there. So they say 8 to 15 characters. It's a lot, but what you want to do is you use methods that are out there, and maybe use chunks of words, or use a possible, like, the digits of your zip code versus maybe the first 2 of your phone number. Split them in between a common thing that you can remember.
Yeah.
And change them up. And the most important thing is don't have all your passwords the same across everything. I know it sounds crazy because you're like, I can't remember anything like that. But really, if someone gets into your Facebook, they already know your email address, so they're going to go to your email. So if you have a Gmail or a Hotmail or something like that, they're just going to go over there and try it, and then they're probably going to use the same password, and they're going to get into your email account. Now they have your email account, and you don't want that.
Yeah.
Sometimes with Twitter, we'll do the same. People will use the same email address. So I use a different email address on Facebook than I do on Twitter and other things. So, and I definitely use different passwords and variations. Now, do I use the same password? Sure, I do. But I don't use the same when it comes to financials. So online banking, completely different, and it's really secure. Okay. So from a password protection point of view, that's what you want.
Okay. Cool.
And you asked, what do you do when it happens? You close it off like that. Okay. And 2, a lot of them now, because this is prevalent, this is starting to happen, have those security mechanisms in place, such as, hey, send me a text message if somebody tries to log on, or which it'll send a special code to your phone. It'll say, enter the 4-digit code to proceed with the login. Okay, it does that. Facebook will do that. I do that with Facebook. I have a setting in there, and everyone can set that up. It's in the settings somewhere. I can't remember offhand, but it's like if you log on from an unknown computer, you have to go and get the there's a 6-digit number you have to type in to permit yourself to get in there. It's a real pain, but it's not as bad as when your Facebook account gets hacked. 'Cause mine did 3 or 4 years ago, and it took me 2.5 months to get it back. So you don't want that.
Especially when it's your business. Like, you can tell your friends, like, hey, someone hacked me, but a lot of times people, they only know you online. So you start randomly spewing out curse words and saying stuff, like it's going to impact your business image. So,
I'm sorry that happened, Keeley. What a drag.
I know, it's not fun, because then you have to stop all of what you're doing and take care of fixing that, because if you don't, it's just going to keep getting worse and worse.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they're going to start getting other things. So.
Yeah. Well, I don't see any questions that have come in. Keeley, can you think of any other questions that we could pick Jeff's brain?
I could go on all day, so I won't. I will not do that to you.
and Carla knows I could be very lengthy when I talk. So.
I always tell Carla, I'm like, social media, it's just, oh my God. Like I said, when I have the money, I am hiring someone who will be my social media expert and saying, do my post, do what you do, and it's just.
Yeah.
Takes up too much of my time.
Excellent.
I tell everyone the same thing is like when you talk about these, you give a very broad overview of what you can do. There is so much more like minutiae and smaller things that can be done on each platform. So you could talk for Facebook for hours on what can be done, and same thing with Instagram, Pinterest, probably together as a one. There's so much that you can uncover and do that's beyond the normal day to day. Just hey, I'm posting something here and there.
Awesome. Well, Jeff, thank you so much. Everyone, please be sure to find Jeff on the social networks. He's mostly listed as Jeff Tincher. I know on Twitter he's at Jeff Tincher, Tincher, and on Facebook he is Jeff Tincher, and then he also has his business page 610 Digital listed there. So, and be sure to circle him up on Google Plus as well. Because he's a great resource, as we demonstrated today. Excellent.
Thank you.
You are welcome. We appreciate you being on the show.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
So, Keeley, why don't you move on and let us know what today's takeaway topic is for our viewers?
Yes, the takeaway topic. Today's topic is short. It's just focus on your social media profile. Do a review to make sure your profile details are correct. If you've learned anything from me, make sure your security is top notch so no one's hacking you. So just do a profile. And I know Facebook is constantly doing updates that sometimes makes changes in your profile and your security, so that's something to be aware of. So everyone, just do a social media review of yourself.
Good idea. Good idea.
Definitely good.
Thanks. So our next episode will be on Thursday, April 3rd. We will not have our show next week, but we will have, luckily, another special guest on Thursday, April 3rd. Yogi Chuck will be joining us. Actually, Keeley, remind me what Chuck's real name is.